We're Laura and Cindy, and you're listening to the Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry podcast, where we talk about natural horsekeeping and deepening your connection with your horse. I'm Laura, your horse care mentor. I teach natural horse management practices after working with over 200 horses and seeing how current industry standards are compromising the health of the horse.
And I'm Cindy, your horsemanship mentor, offering a proven and unique approach to creating deep connections with your horses from 20 plus years of experience, including working with wild Mustangs. If you enjoy this conversation, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to us so we can get this podcast into the ears of more passionate horse people.
So this week, we're going to talk about taking things step by step, really breaking it down. And Cindy and I were just kind of catching up on life before we hit record. And I'm realizing that the conversation we just had was a much bigger theme for this. I was originally thinking this podcast was going to be about just in terms of communication with your horse. What I'm really learning as I take on more trimming clients is a horse that struggles to pick up their feet, that doesn't have a significant injury or physical reason, is a horse that hasn't had the steps of what it means to pick up your foot broken down to you. They don't understand the process. And there's some point between I walk up to you and I'm holding your foot that they don't know what we're talking about, and that's where they're getting stuck. And what we're going to talk about is really identifying that sticking point and just staying with it for as long as you need to help the understanding and the acceptance and the true, oh, I got you and I'm with you to drop in. But Cindy and I were also talking about how we're both in massive states of building new in life and being at the stage that we're in and being at peace and at acceptance in the stage that we're in. And it's the same conversation, just zoomed out really big.
It is. I hadn't really thought about that, Laura, but to achieve anything that we want to achieve alone with our horses or with others involves stepping stones. And we're in a society that I don't know where it began, but we all do it. So it's a common theme that we compare ourselves to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it probably starts very, very young, you know?
Oh my
But
gosh, it starts so young, and as a mom of a 1-year-old, well, what age did yours roll over, start eating solid foods or, whatever?
yes. So we're always, we always want to know if we're doing good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that again is with our crazy ass educational system. They have this basic standard and you either get an A or you get an F based on their standard, not based on the individual. So then there becomes that whole comparing thing. But everything we do takes steps. And there's people around us that can model for us how to do it. And we have to be aware enough of ourselves to know who resonates with us and who doesn't. But I don't want to get off on that. But I agree. The conversation Laura and I were having is we know where we want to be. And we also know where we're at. And for the last 3 years, we have been journeying together. And we were talking about a particular path that we took together and how it served us and how it didn't. And how we were actually striving to live up to somebody else's standards of how to achieve success. And it was kind of a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Laura and I realized that this might apply there, but this is the horse industry that we're in. And that's a whole different industry.
For better or for worse, there's no industry like the horse industry.
right? And it's shifting. And what we realize is we've learned in the old industry, and we are pioneering along with so many other amazing people, the paradigm shift. And it takes steps.
Mhm.
And when a step isn't working, or we think we had all the ingredients to the recipe and we put it all together and it flopped, what do? We get discouraged. Then we question ourselves. Then we doubt ourselves. Then we go into fear about whether or not we've even making the right decision of the path we're on. And then after all that, we sit down and go, okay, well, what didn't work? And it's the very same thing with our horses.
And I think the ability to clearly see what didn't work, and at that point, what am I going to change? Versus falling into the mindset of, I'm a failure, I don't know what I'm doing, I need to throw everything out and start back at the beginning, is the ability to keep going toward what what we want, whether it's with our horse or in our life.
And I think for me personally, with where I'm at and with reflecting on not only working with horses, but working with horses people, um, is being willing to remain curious about what I'm doing, how it's how it's unfolding. Is it what I envisioned? And does it feel good? Does it feel good for me? Does it feel good for them? But we so quickly go into, I'm screwing up. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm ruining my horse. Or this stupid horse, he's just being a jerk.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you that horses are not jerks. Horses are communicating. We have horses like Handsome Harry, who, I am going to be totally transparent here, and I call Harry a jerk at times. But he's not being a jerk, he's being Harry. Harry is very playful. Harry is very dominant. Harry is very confident in his expression of himself because he was bottle fed. And I think he just has that personality. So at times he's being a jerk because he's pushing my buttons, but he's communicating. He wants to play. He has a need. He doesn't agree with what I'm doing, but to blame the horse is an easy out. When reality is, it either doesn't feel good, it's pushing them into confusion, which puts them into fight or flight, or you're not asking the right way.
Yeah. A lot of the horses that I show up to trim, they don't really want to be trimmed today, right now. It's not because they're a jerk. They would rather be out in the pasture with their friends, eating their hay, doing their thing. If I approached those horses like, you big stupid jerk, as I get underneath them, it becomes a huge fight. Me against them, their ideas against my ideas. I end up, my body's sore. I'm not the best version of myself interacting with that horse. The client's not impressed. The trim's not as good. If I approach that with, I would rather be out in the pasture too. But what can I do to make you comfortable here? How can I show you that I'm listening and I'm going to make this as most efficient, but also as slow as you need me to go to be comfortable? They all get on board. And what I find is it's really easy to give that space and that honor and that communication to somebody else's horse. And a lot harder with the expectations and all of the baggage that comes with your own. And I approached MJ like I would a client earlier this week. We had a lovely 30-minute trim.
Interesting is that expectation, right?
Yeah.
So we love our horses, our own personal horses. We adore, right?
My
We,
most favorite, my most favorite horse to trim.
right?
Like, I get to spend some time with you one on one, doing our thing.
But when my horses express their opinion in a way that is not in alignment with what I have in mind in the moment, my clients will tell you, because I've actually caught myself doing it sometimes with their horses. It's like, oh, hell no, you're better than that.
Mhm.
You know better than that. This is not an issue. When in reality, I need to pause, power of the pause, catch what I just said and the emotions that are driving it, and practice what I preach and what I'm all about, which is giving the horse a voice and a choice. And the biggest lesson for me and my personal horsemanship journey is the awareness and the devotion to the relationship with every single horse, be it mine or somebody else's. And then that's even flowing into my relationship with Laura, my relationship with my other animals, my husband, my clients, the person at the grocery store. Because really, everybody, I think when we really get down to it, really like pull all of the fluff and stuff away, we all want to have a voice and a choice and be heard,
Mhm.
especially our horses. Because right now, Laura's working with some minis that she is just nurturing the relationship. Some would call it giving a tune up. Some would call putting some more manners on them, whatever. What she's doing really is nurturing the relationship and opening a deeper conversation with them. I have a client who has a big draft. So we're on in opposite ends of the spectrum. And I had a horseman share with me when I was back studying on a regular basis with them. He had two minis that only his higher level students were allowed to handle. And the reason for that was because they're too small and easy to push around and make them do what you want them to do. And some of the nastiest dispositions I have seen in horses are minis and drafts.
Because the drafts, we have the equipment to push them around with.
The drafts we come in with, this is so big, I have to make sure
Put
they
it in
mind.
stocks, tie it down, tie it up, da da da. Yes.
Yep. And so it's interesting because Laura and I are both the draft that I'm working with. He has had that happen. It's very clear that he has had all respect and all voice and choice stripped from him. And we're working to give that back to him. And yes, I mean, at times I have to check him up a little bit and say, hey, whoa, buddy, you're still with me, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of his history. But we're kind of straying from our topic, but we're not really.
Or not. Because it's in finding the clarity of the hinge point, the step that you're at. The step that I'm at with one of these minis is when I stop my feet, you stop your feet. She's used to just going until blam, she hits the end of the lead rope. Because she's never gonna rip out of anybody's hands. She's tiny. And I'm like, hey, your neck, your brain, your heart, your soul, you're with me. A draft horse in the wrong hands would be tied to a large piece of machinery to learn that lesson, or a
Mhm.
cement tie down on the ground, or something sickening like that, and may end up with the same result of waiting for quite a bit of pressure before listening. It's like everything we do with our horses, we should be able to do with feel. And that's where I'm stripping these guys down to. Is if you can't do it with feel, you don't have the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, full understanding, acceptance, and onboardance with it. And so, at what step in this process did we lose feel? How can I break it down right there and install feel in you so that you understand?
Well, okay, so here we go. Because I want to talk about what you just said on feel. How can I install feel on you? I believe that the sentient beings that horses are and the energetic beings that they have way more feel than any human being. So, and I'm not challenging you, I'm
No,
processing.
you're clarifying me.
Well, I think that you're onto something. So that's why I'm like, we're picking this apart together
Yeah.
because that Minnie can go back with her buddy, and there is all kinds of feel going all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, they are in feel together. They can move in unison and connection. But because of somewhere down the line in its history, it tuned its feel out from humans because
Yeah.
we feel like shit. Then let's be honest.
Yeah.
90% of us that deal with horses have no freaking clue what the word feel even means.
And if you're never given the option for your feel to be a communication, you're just having your face wailed on, well, then why would I even set myself up for that disappointment?
Yeah, just go through the motions and
Yes.
stay out of
Yes.
trouble.
Yes.
So,
And I really want to pause here and point out that this isn't necessarily always done through someone with malice.
no, no,
It
no, no,
can
no,
be
no.
done with someone who just has never been taught feel in their own horsemanship journey and has no idea that their tiny little horse shouldn't be bonking into the end of the lead rope. Because when you think about it, I'm sure that we don't do well by our dogs either,
Right?
but our dogs shouldn't be bonking into the end of their leashes. But how many of ours do?
Well, and okay, Laura, let's go deep, deep on this. I think that the majority of humanity has tapped out of their own field
Feel.
because the energy around us doesn't encourage feel. It empaths. I'm an empath, you're an empath. What that means is you feel the energy and the environment and the emotions of those around you. It's we all have it. Some of us are just deeply in tune with it. And the example I love to use so that you all can get an idea of what feel means and is like. We all know when Christmas holidays come around, it brings up, for most of us, I hope all of us have some glimmer of fond memories as a child and Santa and all that stuff, right? And if you don't do Christmas, I honor that as well. But you still, if you, anyway,
There's a time of year, a day, where there's a magical light feeling in the air.
right. And it's a time of celebrating and giving gifts to one another, to those you love. So you go into the shopping mall and you're hit with that huge building filled with everybody's energy of hustle and bustle and get out of my way and oh my god, are they going to like it and how can I afford it and what am I going to get them and it's energy that just feels heavy and intense. Or you're driving along the country road from one destination to another, and you drop in over the crest down into the city, and you hit that traffic, and poof, it feels faster and more intense, and everybody's agitated or angry or defensive. So that is an idea of feel. And so I think that we're all born with feel. And over time, as we walk our journey of life, a lot of us protect ourselves from shutting down feel. And feel is connected to emotions. And we're taught very, very young, or at least we have been, again, we're on a paradigm shift. We have been taught that there are acceptable emotions and unacceptable emotions, when in reality, our emotions are connected to our feel, and that is our guidance system of when we're safe and when we're not.
Yeah.
The reason I go into this is because it is exactly the same with horses, but more magnified.
It is. And it's, if you can set aside that fear of I'm gonna ruin my horse, because we've said this before, but I'll say it again. As long as you show up to fix it, as long as you come back tomorrow or the next day, you're never going to ruin your horse. Our horses, to me, in my life, have been the safe place to develop and bring out my feel. I had no feel before horses. And it is 2025 in America. I intentionally turn off my feel in a lot of situations right now. It is not a safe world to be walking around with your feelers out.
The shit show.
And raising a 1-year-old in this shit, like I have to be careful not to just to be raw edged all the time. But when I'm in the horses, I can let out my feel and I can let in their feel. And I go home a grounded, centered mom who's ready to help my kid stay connected to her feel in this crazy world.
Ready to unlock true freedom with your horse? Join Unbridled Freedom, our private Facebook group for women on a spiritual journey in horsemanship. We don't fix our horses, we transform ourselves. This is your space to embrace challenges, celebrate victories, and deepen your bond with your horse. If you're ready to lead with wisdom, compassion, and inner peace, join us today. Let's dance with our horses as one. The link is in the show notes below. You're awakened to your emotions. So when we are working with our horses, or a horse, if you're a professional, and if you're a professional, yay, thanks for listening to our podcast as much as anybody else. But we always are striving, if you're on this journey, this holistic journey, to have feel in everything you do. And in order to have feel, you have to have those three awarenesses: awareness for self, horse, and environment. And when you're trying to do something with your horse and it's not working, okay, you're struggling, they're struggling, you're both struggling, you're getting something that you know isn't really what you're trying to get. Yes, we get frustrated. We're human. It's part of our DNA. The power of the pause, taking that deep breath and recognizing the awareness of, I don't feel good inside. This does not feel good. This is an emotion I don't want on the table. And or my horse is clearly not enjoying this. And it's all about the partnership, the relationship, a mutual enjoyment. So pause and take a deep breath. Your horse pauses and takes a deep breath. This is called the reset. depending on how much you spiraled before the awareness awakened, maybe even let them graze a little bit of grass.
There's a time to remain connected in the reset and a time to take a minute away.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing that is huge in your reset, in your pause, is if you are on your horse, please breathe through the top of your head, out through the soles of your feet, and out through your sits bones. Breathe it all out, please, because you're breathing through your horse. And you're breathing in new oxygen, new air, new breath through your body, through your horse, and out through your feet, their feet. That's a reset on your horse. It's not a time to make them mind. If they need to move their feet, let them move their feet as long as they're not taking off on you. Because horses need to move, we need to stop. So we got to work together. If you're on the ground, do not be staring at them. There's this great place between the V and our rib cage called our solar plexus. It's our power point. It's where we put our energy out into the world. Our horses feel that more than any being you'll probably be around. Turn away from them. Stand beside them, shoulder to shoulder.
Be with them, not at them.
Exactly. And breathe together. One of the things I love to do in those moments is smell my horse. Even a sweaty horse. I just want to smell them. I want to hear them breathing. I want to look at their eyes. Are their eyes softening? And during that time, I'm going, what am I trying to do? And why isn't it working? And what I teach when I gentle Mustangs and start to introduce them to the human world, and what I teach my clients as they learn this new dance of communication is everything we do with horses has at least 4 steps. Going into their pen, haltering them, picking up their feet, cleaning them, anything, tacking, asking them out on the circle, asking them to move forward. Everything has at least 4 steps. Can you start asking yourself, what are the 4 steps to doing this? Breaking it down, because once we can get you to start thinking that way, then you try step 1. Oh, that works. I walked into the pasture, they turned and faced me. Step 2. And actually, that's probably not even right, but we'll go with this. Step 2, I walk towards them, they walk towards me. Step 3, I approach them at the shoulder and give them a rub. Step 4, I put the halter on. Does step 1 work? I walked in and they turned tail and ran. Ooh. Are they having a bad day, or did we have a bad session last time? Or step 1, you both turn and face, but step 2, you take a step towards them and then they're like, peace out. Then you're like, ooh, how did I approach them last time?
I'm
What do you want
going
to
to
add to
give
that?
you the magic key to always knowing your next step. And you're going to hate it if you're a practical steps person who likes step-by-step instructions, but this has never failed me. And Cindy just described it, but I'm going to put it in slightly different words for you to wrap it up. When you're taking those breaths in your reset, you're breathing through the top of your head, out the bottom. And in this case, you're remaining in connection with your horse because you're seeking that next step that they need. Into the feel, you could even call it the liminal space that we're now hanging in because we don't quite know where we're going. You're connected to the universe or God or whatever it is you believe is above you, from above. You're grounded and present into the earth below, and you're connected with your horse. And you're bringing all of that in and saying, where do I go next? And you are putting your trust into all of that guidance and feel around you for that knowledge to drop in. It might be a feeling, it might be a vision, it is different for everybody. But that pause, connection, and ask has never failed me in terms of what is my next step? What am I missing here? How can I help this animal? And it's the permission to give ourselves the time and the space to do that that I think is actually harder than the doing of it.
Pretty powerful. So here I've just come up with 4 steps.
Okay.
Pause, connection, ask, receive.
There you go.
Because the ask is hard. The receiving and believing that what you're receiving is that right there. If you could learn to really start playing with that formula that Laura just presented, that will change your life. That won't just change your horse human relationship. That will change your life.
I am successful with horses because I do that regularly all the time.
But how often do you do it in your other?
In the rest of my life, I'm an impatient person. I will fully admit that I am an impatient person and not always great at doing that in the rest of my life. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever looked at your horse and wondered if they're thriving in your care? Is there more you can do to give them the best life possible? Most ranches and boarding facilities are set up for convenience, not horse health, but there's tons you can do to fix your horse's situation if you're willing to get creative. Join Evidence-Based Horsekeeping, my Facebook group where members learn how to improve the mental and physical well-being of their horses. The link is in the show notes.
I'm chuckling because I just had this conversation with self this week, as I'm kind of rebranding and stepping more fully into the gifts that I have been given to give to the world. And that's hard,
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier to go out and learn something and then duplicate it.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to take the gifts that you've been given. Laura and I are both very gifted with animals, especially horses, and to own those gifts and
Cindy's very gifted with horses.
to be devoted to getting more masterful at that gift. And the only way that happens is that formula that she just laid out, which is powerful, Laura. I'm going to be licking and chewing on that for a while. I'm pretty good at the pause, and I'm pretty good at the connecting, be it with my horse, be it with my higher self within and the universe, animals. Asking, I'm pretty good. Sometimes I struggle, really, not knowing, well, what is the right question?
Yeah, yeah.
The receiving. I'm going to get really uncomfortable in this moment, and I am going to say, I am a phenomenal animal communicator. The results that I help my clients get even blows me away. And the reason I'm really good at it is because I surrender and I receive. I call it God. I also call the divine. I show up as the mediator for the divine and the person and the animal to all come together and have a beautiful conversation. You know what? I suck at receiving that intuitive communication in my own damn life, on my own damn path. I doubt it.
You do.
Laura's saying, yep, Cindy, you do. And I don't know why it is. We're all here to learn and grow and have our own challenges in life. And I'm realizing that formula, I'm stuck on receiving.
And I think we can wrap it all back to, if you take this conversation and slap it out into modern day society, we're two crazy woo-woo witches. And we've been taught all our lives to follow the formula of life and don't listen to that inner voice.
Because if we listen to that inner voice and we claim the fact that people want to label as witches, which, is not a bad thing, but for many centuries, it was
It
a bad
was,
thing.
yes.
I, and I'm thinking about our guest speaker that we're having soon, going through the same thing that we're going through.
Mhm.
When you dare to step up into the world and be seen as who you truly are, people attack you.
100%.
They look at you different. They call you names. They give you labels that are uncomfortable. They turn people against you. They criticize your results because it scares them and they don't understand them. And so you play small to make everybody else comfortable. But you're doing a disservice to yourself. You never will feel inner peace when you're playing small to fit in. And Laura and I have been together for 5 years now, and I'm grateful for every moment of it, friend.
Me too.
Um, we push each other and we celebrate each other and we question each other. And
Yeah.
I'm getting lost because I'm getting really emotional right now because it's hard to step fully into who you are, claim and accept and receive your soul purpose, and dare to be seen.
And I think why a huge reason why my relationship with Cindy is so near and dear to me is that she's one of the few people who can call me for playing small, who can call me for ignoring my intuitive gifts. And I still feel the love. It's a safe call out. It's not a you suck because of this. It's this is showing up in you right now. And so we can show up in the very messy, like, I know I'm being petty and small, but I petty and small is safe to me right now and be gently stepped out of it. And if you want to just zoom this whole thing out, this work right here is the paradigm shift that is going to get us out of this shithole that we're in.
And bring our horses with us.
Yeah,
You know what is interesting? Here we're both sobbing on this
I
podcast, which
know,
is
gross.
funny. Um, see, guys, dare to be vulnerable, right? But what she just did, what you just described, Laura, is the same approach to the relationships with horses that we bring.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, we support each other when we need to be supported.
And we
When
kick
we
each other in the
truly,
ass when we need it.
right,
Like,
when we
yeah,
truly need to feel loved and seen and supported and somebody to just give us a virtual energetic hug.
yeah,
And we're also willing to gently say, hey, wait a minute, is that really true? Really? I think if you really got clear that you would know that that's not true. And then we also say, I'm sorry, girlfriend, but I'm calling bullshit.
hmm,
But we always do it from a place of love and respect and being mindful of when do we let each other stay in our comfort zone? When do we push each other out to the learning zone? Because we both know that that's where the good stuff happens. And when do we help each other get off that edge of teetering into the panic zone and back into the learning zone? And that's what we do for our horses as well.
yeah.
That's what creates trust and connection and communication. So thank you,
Our
Laura.
big, big invitation to you is to find the first step for you. Where do you need to go to create this whole thing that we were just talking about? Start with you and your horse. Our language is horses. So this is the language that we're choosing to approach the change we want to see in the world with. And we've seen it in ourselves. You create it with your horse first. And how is that going to come out into your life? Imperfectly. Because we've been mucking around in this shit for 5 years. So it's not going to be easy and comfortable and good at first. And don't make it be.
And, we love to give you guys some things, something tangible to take away, because we just got deep. But let's go back to the golden rule: pause, connect, ask, and receive.
Mm.
Write that down. If this resonates to you, write it down and ask yourself, what does that look like for me personally? And how can I maybe do that in moments with my horses, or just in moments in my life where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, or how do I do this? Just be playful with it, but then also start paying attention to the 4 steps. What's coming to my mind is simple as brushing your teeth. Can you break that down into 4 steps? Getting dressed. Can you break it down into 4 steps? If we can get you to start thinking 4 steps: haltering your horse, preparing for a ride.
This is huge. Something you and your horse already do really well.
Yes.
Notice the steps that you're doing and just bring that awareness to them.
Like saddling, when you get ready to saddle your horse, what are the 4 steps? And start to notice, how does my horse receive each step?
Yes.
Because then you're opening up the communication part of the relationship with your horse. Is it as good for him as it is for me, or am I hurriedly going through it? So that's your takeaway to start, if you're interested, to start learning to think. Because I promise you that if you can take those 4 steps, you will see a shift
You
in your
will.
relationship with your horse. It will happen, and you'll be blown away.
I tell people all the time, I am not the most skilled horsewoman, and I never probably will be. It's not where I shine. I shine in this breakdown of communication, and it's why I was able to take an unhandled, late gelded, wild and crazy Arab and start him under saddle without even knowing how to ride. Because I did this at every step of the way, starting on here's how we put on a halter.
Oh, I just love this, because in reality, when you're doing this, you're also getting more masterful at the 3 awarenesses.
Yes, you are.
I mean, I love the way that this is all tying together. And I love, Laura started before we got on this podcast that she was just getting a feeling of where
Yeah, I said I was going to throw a wrench at you. Just follow me.
yep. And I think that those are some of our most amazing podcasts. And, I hope that you've listened all the way through, because our podcast always end with the golden nugget.
Mhm.
So for those of you that didn't get bored following our thread, through the forest, there's your golden nugget. So if you have any questions about the topics covered in this episode, send us a message on our Facebook page, Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry, and we will answer your question in a post on our page. You will be anonymous. We'll just take the question and provide our input, and we want to do it on the post so that we can all learn and grow together, because nobody knows everything. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. We want to remind you that we'll be here every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, following the golden rule. Have a plan, but always be willing to be flexible. Don't forget to connect with us using the links in the show notes below.
If you learned something new today, had an aha, or walked away with a valuable nugget, you can say thanks by leaving us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on.